hard for me to think right now. And it hurts.
We're going through this process. We're grieving. We're processing what happened. But we still have to live.
Now at 10, a community still in shock and mourning after 9 people were gunned down in the Oregon District early Sunday morning. First here tonight at 10, it's now been nearly 2 days since the tragedy in Dayton where a 24-year-old gunman opened fire in our historic Oregon District, killing those 9 and injuring 27 more.
This Wednesday, the president will be coming to Dayton to visit with city leaders and talk about the mass shooting. And as we learn more about what happened that morning, we're remembering the 9 people who died. 22-year-old Megan Betts, 39-year-old Monica Brickhouse, 25-year-old Nicholas Coomer, 36-year-old Beatrice Warren Curtis, 57-year-old Derek Fudge, 25-year-old Thomas McNichols, 27-year-old Lois Oglesby, 38-year-old Saeed Salah, and 30-year-old Logan Turner.
And tonight we also continue our team coverage. We begin with 2 News reporter Adam Reif, who has the latest on what police are learning about the crime scene itself.
Today we found out that shooter fired off at least 41 shots in roughly 30 seconds before he was killed by Dayton police, but he was armed with a lot more. That motive still unknown, but today Dayton police describing how much destruction that shooter was prepared to inflict.
It's problematic. It is fundamentally problematic. They have that level of weaponry in a civilian environment, unregulated, is problematic.
Investigators recovered 41 shell casings from the crime scene, but the shooter still had more rounds in the magazines and his backpack. All told, he had 250 bullets to fire into the crowd. Investigators also found 65 shell casings fired by police. The fire chief detailing their response efforts, saying 1 ambulance and 1 medic crew were dispatched, standard for shootings.
Immediately upon arriving on the scene, we realized that we had multiple people down. We upgraded it to a mass casualty incident.
The call went out for additional crews and assistance from surrounding areas. Emergency responders taking 5 people to area hospitals, many others taken by friends or driving themselves. In all, 14 people suffered gunshot wounds. The rest of the injured were hurt while trying to flee. The police department is working with community groups as city officials are starting to look ahead at the healing process.
Been very impressed with the outpouring of the spirit of the community last night. Folks coming together in the Oregon District.
Former Dayton resident and UD grad Lieutenant Governor John Husted was briefed by police Monday. He says long-term solutions could take time.
We also hope to broaden the conversation about mental health in general and how we can build better community support.
Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., Governor Mike DeWine is scheduled to unveil his proposals to address gun violence and mental health issues. You'll be able to get the latest information as it happens at WDTN.com and on our 2 News app. Adam Reif, 2 News, working for you.
And as we near the 48-hour mark, we're learning of the courage of not just those 6 brave police officers, but of brave citizens as well.
One couple ran out of a restaurant to help after hearing the gunfire, and 2 News reporter Judith Ratana sat down with them to hear their story of bravery during the tragedy in Dayton.
Well, we're here outside of Ned Pepper's, where people from across the area continue to come here and pay their respects to the victims lost. One of those victims they're remembering is Megan Betts, the shooter's sister. I spoke with Sarah Reeves and Benjamin Fox, who tried to keep her alive as long as they could. The decision to sit in an Oregon District diner at 1 a.m. changed Sarah Reeves and Benjamin Fox's life. Only 1 bite into their meal, they heard what sounded like firecrackers.
We all knew what it was. It was gunshots, a lot of gunshots.
She said they knew, but no one would say it out loud.
And then the commotion started, the screams.
That's when Fox ran outside.
I came across the first body in the alleyway, and then there was like 3 more around him.
He looked for anyone he could help.
I saw this guy, I just knew, his eyes, I'll never forget his eyes.
Reeves ran out shortly after and began chest compressions on a woman.
My body just led me to do it. I didn't even think about it. I just did it.
She wouldn't realize until the next day she was helping 22-year-old Megan Betts, the shooter's sister.
I just knew that there was life left in her, so I just tried my hardest.
Beside her was her friend, also injured.
He just kept asking, is my friend okay? Is my friend okay?
Reeves said she prayed out loud for Betts, who didn't make it.
I just hope that what she heard last was me praying, and that she saw me I don't know, I just hope that she could
The
feel
comfort of people around
my
her.
presence.
The couple says they're in a daze, disassociated with life, still working to understand why this happened.
Keep having like flashbacks of just the sounds and the things that we both saw.
Since Sunday, there are more I love yous being exchanged in their home.
Our family is definitely a lot closer, and just realizing that life is so short.
And one day they hope to be able to step back into the Oregon district.
The scenario and the scene and everything is just like, it just keeps replaying and replaying.
Now, the couple is applauding the quick and heroic actions of Dayton PD. If this event changes anything, they hope it inspires people to be kinder. They also hope it inspires you to reach out to a family or friend you haven't spoken to in a while to express your appreciation for them. For now, live in the Oregon District, Judith Hartana, 2 News, working for you.
All right, Judith, thanks. Also tonight, a Dayton suburb finding itself squarely in the national spotlight as the hometown of the gunman.
2 News reporter Leah Williamson was in Bellbrook tonight as people filled the park for a vigil.
Right, this small community, but they turned out in a big way for their community support event in Bellbrook. City officials tell me this was more than just a vigil. It was an event to connect people with resources in order to help them process these difficult emotions.
Bellbrook Police Chief Doug Doherty becoming overwhelmed with emotion.
I spent all day Sunday with the family.
Thinking of the Betts family that just lost 2 children in the Oregon District mass shooting. 22-year-old Megan Betts was shot to death in Dayton. Her brother, the shooter, killing 8 other people and injuring dozens more.
Absolutely devastated, shock. I never would have expected anything like this out of him.
Bellbrook alum Lindsay Dahl gathered at the vigil with her friends, many of whom were close with the Betts because of marching band.
The only negative I could think was that she was too happy. Absolute sweetheart, huge empath. She cared about everybody around her.
Dahl says she thinks often of Megan, who is going to graduate with a degree in environmental science from Wright State.
In high school, people always said that we were the hippies because we both loved, the environment and everything about it. We wanted to make a change, and she really did too. She wanted to do something bigger than herself, and she was going to do it.
She will never get a chance to accomplish that after her brother opened fire Sunday morning.
As I knew him, I never had any impression that he would ever harm anybody like that. I mean, he was an oddball. He was strange sometimes, had a strange sense of humor. But in my opinion, I never would have ever saw him doing anything like this at all.
Now, more than 24 hours later, their community is gathering to help each other heal.
This is right here in person. Like I said at the end of my song, give somebody a hug tonight. You can't give a hug on Facebook.
The Betts family has still not designated a spokesperson for them to the media. Chief Doherty saying he will gladly continue to do it for the time being. Aaliyah Williamson, 2 News, working for you.
Also tonight, we've been learning troubling new information about the shooter. Some former high school classmates say that he was suspended from Bellbrook High School after creating both a hit list for boys and a rape list for girls. One of his former classmates also telling the story of the day that Connor Betts was actually taken off a school bus by 2 uniformed police officers. By the way, Creekview Place in Bellbrook, the site of the Betts family home, remains closed until further notice.
The deadline to use the Family Assistance Center is approaching. Anyone connected to the victims or survivors has until tomorrow at 8 p.m. to use the services at the Dayton Convention Center. The doors open at 8 a.m. Afterwards, families in need of support are asked to call the hotline 937-224-4646. The Ohio Attorney General will also have the Crime Victim Compensation Team at the Convention Center. This will allow victims and families to apply for relief for out-of-pocket expenses such as medical bills, work loss, and other costs.
And more survivors, as you've been hearing, sharing their stories about that tragic night in the Oregon District. Sharon Henderson describing the aftermath as a war zone.
I do remember us kind of being the last 2 people to leave the club, and as we were able to leave the parking lot, which was maybe 20 minutes or so later, I just remember seeing bodies and sheets, just riddled all over the sidewalk throughout the Oregon District.
This weekend's two mass shootings left 31 people dead and more than 50 hurt. Experts with the American Psychological Association are offering guidance to anyone feeling stress after the tragedies. They say it's important to talk about your feelings with a friend or a loved one. They say you might also want to talk with kids about their concerns and share your feelings with them as well.
And new information tonight about a gun show that was planned for Dayton this weekend. C&E Gun Show says they're now canceling that show, planned for this Saturday and Sunday at the Montgomery County Event Center. The website saying they wish to give the city of Dayton time to grieve and heal. Their next show date in Dayton now set for September 21st and 22nd. And for continuing coverage of the tragedy in Dayton, you can find more stories about the victims, the investigation, and how to support all those impacted, all on our website, WDTN.com.
Next at 10, remembering the victims, how one Pennsylvania woman is remembering her friend killed in the mass shooting.
And a bit later, the crowd last night chanted, "Do something," but is Columbus listening? We'll begin to find out tomorrow morning from Governor DeWine. As we continue to mourn those lost this weekend, we're also learning more about exactly who they were.
Among those is 25-year-old Nicholas Coomer. Colleen Knudsen talked to his best friend.
Absolutely was my best friend.
Katie Vitez and Nick Coomer weren't just best friends.
Oh, we took a family Christmas photo with my cat.
They were family. Nick was just about to complete an internship in Ohio and start his final graduate year at St. Francis, studying cancer care.
He was really excited for his internship in Dayton. He had 1 week left, and so he was like out celebrating with his fellow interns when it happened.
Katie is still trying to understand that Nick is now gone.
Like, I didn't really believe it at first, and then it just like hit me, like the reality of it, and it's still, I don't even know if I've processed it fully yet.
A life full of potential.
It's angering to know that somebody took that away from him.
Leaving behind memories of laughter.
He looks just really happy.
And a legacy of love.
We felt his spirit and his soul.
And still to come, will the tragedy in Dayton finally prompt our State House to do something? We may get our first clue from the governor in the morning.
And a state lawmaker faces calls for resignation. We'll tell you about the controversial finger-pointing she made on social media in the wake of the Dayton mass shooting.
And increasing chances of rain are headed our way, and your complete Storm Team 2 forecast just ahead.
great community, letting them know how much they deeply care.
The crowd there was hard to hear, but they were chanting "Do something," and that, of course, was the Oregon district last night during Governor Mike DeWine's speech.
The crowd calling on both his administration and the State House to pass gun control laws. Our State House reporter Jason Aubrey continues our team coverage.
The party in control of what gets done here at the State House hasn't changed in nearly a decade. In that time, Republican lawmakers have passed measures that ease gun regulations, and some say ignored those that restrict. Ohio's top Republican, Governor Mike DeWine, faced chants of "do something" at a vigil for the mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio.
Is to say to them that we love you.
State Representative David Leland, a Democrat from Columbus, hears them.
When the legislature really wants to do something like bailing out nuclear power plants, they can call special sessions and get people here in a lickety-split. This is a much more important issue, and we need to be acting right now.
Another Democrat, State Representative Allison Russo, is sponsoring one of 13 pieces of gun safety legislation, a red flag law, and says Republicans have shown no interest.
It's incredibly frustrating when our colleagues from across the aisle are not willing to step up and join us in this effort. But I am hopeful and I remain optimistic.
The spokesman for Senate Republicans say they're willing to look at solutions, but they will not rush through the process.
The fact is, results count. You can't have an unconstitutional law or an ineffective law passed because it does nothing then to protect the public. If it's more important to score political points just to pass a law and pat yourself on the back, you're dishonoring the dead.
Governor Mike DeWine heard the crowd last night as well. He has scheduled a news conference for tomorrow morning where he plans to discuss his proposals for addressing gun violence and mental health issues. At the State House, I'm Jason Aubrey.
And a state representative now facing calls to resign following her controversial Facebook post about the Dayton shooting. Candace Keller, who represents the Middletown area, blamed the LGBT community, President Obama, Democrats, and violent video games. That post has since been taken down and has been denounced by her state party. And for continuing coverage of the tragedy in Dayton, you can find more stories about the victims, the status of the investigation, and how to support those impacted, all on our website, WDTN.com.
Now, Chief Meteorologist Brian Davis and your Storm Team 2 forecast.
And we're expecting clear to partly cloudy skies over the area tonight as temperatures drop slowly through the 70s, head down to the low 70s by 2 a.m., eventually reaching the upper 60s tonight. Back up to 73 at 8, mostly sunny, 83 at noon, partly sunny skies, and a little better chance of some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon hours, around 80 at 5 p.m. Our weather headlines tonight, mostly clear skies. It'll be muggy out there with scattered thunderstorms in the area. Tuesday, we'll have rain chance around the area Wednesday and Thursday, but then cooler, drier conditions return later in the week. Low severe weather index tomorrow. There's a very low risk we could see some stronger wind gusts develop tomorrow afternoon and evening in some of those thunderstorms, so we'll watch out for that. And we're looking at a very high ultraviolet index for tomorrow, with that number expected to get up there around 89 or so. 89 our high today, 67 the low temperature this morning, with the normals at 83 and 64. And our record high 103. Have to head all the way back over 100 years ago for that. And low temperatures tonight expected to hit the upper 60s in our area, some of the outlying spots even in the mid 60s. And then tomorrow afternoon up to about 86 for us, with readings near 90 down south towards Cincinnati, and some 90-degree numbers down south through Kentucky. A look tonight at live Doppler 2 HD. Most of the rain is dissipated. We do have a couple of showers east of Cincinnati still showing up, and a little bit of rain just south of Muncie, Indiana. We'll see if that can hold together. May clip some of our counties to the west out toward Wayne County, Indiana, but I think for the most part here we'll be looking at dry conditions tonight with just a few passing clouds. So all in all, mostly clear skies. Better chance of thunderstorms along a cold front. That front will be dropping southward into our area as we get to Tuesday night and Wednesday, so our rain chances by then will be on the rise. You can see some moderate cumulus clouds there, or at least one of them on the SVG Chevrolet camera a few hours ago, and even a couple of spotty showers earlier today on live Doppler 2 HD, but you can see the mostly clear skies now, just some high thin clouds. Currently in Dayton we have a temperature reading of 77, Light southwest wind at 6. Dew point 64, not terribly oppressive, nothing like a few weeks ago when it was in the 70s, but still enough to make it a bit sticky tonight. 64% the relative humidity. Already down to 68 at Richmond. We can see a lot of low to mid 70s and even some upper 70s to near 80 in the southern part of our region. Our future track forecast tonight, mostly clear, but then back to partly cloudy skies tomorrow, and eventually that increased chance of a shower or thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon, and we'll still have that chance around tomorrow night. Our forecast tonight, mostly clear and muggy, down to 68 degrees, a light southwest wind. Scattered showers, thunderstorms mainly tomorrow afternoon as we climb up to 86. Sunrise 6:40 and a southwest wind 5 to 15. Upper 70s at 10 with low 80s at noon. We'll probably hit that high around 2 o'clock at 86 and then drop back to the low 80s at 4 p.m. 79 at 6 o'clock with that chance of showers and thunderstorms. Wednesday's high 83. A chance of showers and thunderstorms. Same situation on Thursday, but then behind that front, nice weather. 80 on Friday, 82 Saturday, lows upper 50s, low 60s, and then some mid 80s return on Sunday. So we get through the next few days, it looks like we're back to good weather again.
But we've had a lot of dry days in a row, so.
Well, I noticed I was out of town for a week and a half, and all of a sudden I'm driving back and the grass is turning brown around here.
So we could use some rain at this point. Yeah, all right, thank you, Brian.
A mother should not have to bury their child.
Coming up, we hear from another victim's family as they remember their son and grandson among those lost in the Dayton mass shooting.
He was supposed to be celebrating his 30th birthday with friends and family.
But instead, Logan Turner's family now mourning his passing and planning his funeral. And Katie Kenny shares more on the tragedy in Dayton.
Logan Turner had just celebrated his golden birthday. He turned 30 on the 30th of July.
We're here with this. Ain't no more birthdays.
It's been a rough few weeks for Logan's mama, who just suffered a fall. She and Logan were especially close. She even helped care for him as a baby.
Each day I made a log and book for him, wrote down what we did and what he did, and it was just a joy.
Logan's first steps, first words, first years of a life well lived.
He was taken at the pinnacle of his life. Everything was perfect for Logan.
Now, for his family, perfection is out of the question.
And a mother should not have to bury their child.
I don't think any of us will ever be the same again. I don't think. I know I won't. I'm 87. And right now I'm just empty. Just empty.
Logan loved his job and his girlfriend Molly. He didn't know a stranger.
Everybody loved him. And he loved everybody. I didn't have children of my own. So he was like mine.
He was a role model for everyone around him, even his dad.
I just can't say good enough stuff about my son. He was a man that I wanted to be.
Dad, how can we live our lives like your son?
With joy and happiness. Everyone be happy, love each other.
That was Katie Kenny reporting. Next at 10, how Dayton's baseball team is using America's pastime to bring the city together in the wake of the mass shooting.
President Trump says hatred and mental illness are to blame for the recent mass shootings in Texas and Ohio. I'm Bree Jackson on Capitol Hill, and I have details coming up.
And could the death penalty be the key to curbing mass shootings? The idea being considered by the Department of Justice tonight. First this half hour, with so many unanswered questions remaining in the senseless tragedy that left 9 people dead and 27 injured.
Yeah, we're learning more about what happened during that mass shooting, and we're remembering those killed. They are 22-year-old Megan Betts, 39-year-old Monica Brickhouse, 25-year-old Nicholas Coomer, 36-year-old Beatrice Warren Curtis, 57-year-old Derek Fudge, 25-year-old Thomas McNichols, 27-year-old Lois Oglesby, 38-year-old Saeed Sala, and 30-year-old Logan Turner.
And Dayton Police Chief Richard Beal revealing today that 41 shell casings were recovered from the suspect, while 65 were recovered by police. He says the suspect, though, had potentially up to 250 rounds of ammunition on him that night. Right now, there's no determination how the guns got to the scene, but a second gun, a shotgun, was recovered in the suspect's trunk, and the search for a motive continues.
We have a lot of evidence still to go through. Just based on where we're at now, we are not seeing any indication of race being a motive, but we are not through all the evidence. And so until we're through all the evidence, we cannot rule that out. But I'm saying we're not seeing any at this time that suggests race is a motive.
And Dayton Fire Chief Jeff Payne saying many of the victims actually got themselves to local hospitals, while Dayton Fire and EMS took 5 people to the hospital, and Dayton Police took several others in their cruisers as well. And through vigils, fundraisers, community gatherings, and more, the Miami Valley continues to come together in the wake of Sunday morning's tragedy.
And that held true at tonight's Dayton Dragons game. 2 News reporter Deborah Bogart joining us live from where they are remembering the victims of the tragedy in Dayton.
Yeah, guys, tonight was not just about cheering for a Dragons win for many fans, but it was an opportunity to show unity and support for the victims of their families by saying, "We are Dayton strong." Some wearing t-shirts to show their support, while others made signs. But the message is clear throughout Fifth Third Field. We are Dayton strong.
The city of Dayton has done a wonderful job of getting behind this tragedy that we just suffered. And I just wanted to let the world know that we are behind the Dayton police and the people in Dayton, Ohio.
Between the 2 Dragons games, the crowd turned somber as the team and city officials honored each shooting victim
Nicholas Coomer
by laying 9 roses on home plate.
We are a community. We all rely on each other, and that becomes even more important when you're going through a difficult time.
The team also donating their half of the 50-50 raffle to the Dayton, Oregon District Tragedy Fund and passing the bucket, allowing fans to make their own contribution. Murphy says it's important for the team to not only show the community they have loved for 20 years a good time, but how they can also step up to the plate during a tragedy.
When times are tough, you need to be able to count on your sports teams to step up and make a difference. We want to be important to this community, and we want to help this community heal.
Now they will be accepting those cash donations and donating their proceeds from the 50-50 raffle from tomorrow's game to that fund as well. Now that money will help the families of the victims from Sunday's mass shooting. Tomorrow's game starts at 7 p.m. Reporting live, Deborah Bogart, 2 News, working for you.
Businesses downtown are trying to return to a sense of normalcy as they once again open their doors.
And 2 News reporter Kelly King takes us to the Oregon District, where they've been welcoming customers and mourners today with open arms.
Gravitating to the Oregon District as bars and restaurants reopen for business. Owners tell me they are in the grieving process and will be for a while, but Dayton City officials say they don't want this shooting to deter people from coming down.
I just can't believe what's happening.
We're processing what happened, but we still have to live.
One day later, Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley doing just that.
I had a cheeseburger, so I didn't eat that healthy.
Grabbing a bite at Blind Bob's with a smile and some company after 5th Street was marred by gun violence.
This is what Dayton's about, is these businesses, and they're all locally owned, and that's what makes this community so special.
Tumbleweed's Kitchen also back open after one of the victims ran there for help.
She ran in the front door, I guess, with a bullet wound to the head and collapsed in my kitchen.
Lee Helton's husband works a burger stand feet from the gunfire.
I never thought it would be like that.
Patronizing businesses now more important than ever.
I wanted to do some shopping, but also I wanted to see the memorial.
The Oregon District is a gathering place. It always has been.
And always will be. In Dayton, Kelly King, 2 News, working for you.
And President Trump speaking today said that the internet, mental illness, and hate are to blame for the epidemic of mass shootings in America, including the recent attacks here in Dayton and in El Paso. And once again, the president will be visiting Dayton on Wednesday.
2 News Washington Bureau correspondent Bree Jackson has more on his reaction as she covers Washington.
President Trump says hatred and mental illness are to blame for the mass shootings in Ohio and Texas.
These barbaric slaughters are an assault upon our communities.
The president says the internet has fueled violence and racism, pointing to the manifesto the El Paso gunman posted online.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
The president says he wants to stop mass shootings before they start. He's directing the FBI to focus on social media activity, and he wants Congress to work with him on mental health programs, including so-called red flag laws that prevent the mentally ill and violent offenders from getting guns.
But the reality is, we know the solutions to this problem.
But Chris Brown, president of the Brady campaign, says gun reform needs to be part of the solution, and the president failed to mention it. She says high-powered assault-style weapons should be banned.
Because they kill as many people as possible, as quickly as possible.
In addition, Brown says Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell needs to get moving on legislation that the House already approved to help strengthen background checks.
If the president wants to do something, he should call up his buddy Mitch and ensure that that bill gets signed into law.
I am open and ready to listen and discuss all ideas that will actually work and make a very big difference.
And the president is expected to visit the sites of the 2 mass shootings later this week. In Washington, Bree Jackson.
And Congressman Mike Turner joined us live today on 5 on 2 and spoke about that background check legislation you just heard about awaiting a vote in the U.S. Senate.
We have a very robust background check situation already in place. Expanding it doesn't necessarily affect the outcome here. We've got to find ways in which we can really impact both the lethality and also the opportunity that these people and the threat that they represent.
And if you'd like to watch the full interview with Turner, head to WDTN.com and search for the story under the 5 on 2 page.
Former President Obama calling on the residents of the United States to reject words of any of our leaders that feed fear and hatred. He released a statement condemning language that, quote, normalizes racist sentiments. The President Obama added, "We are not helpless here, and until all of us stand up and insist on holding public officials accountable for changing our gun laws, these tragedies will keep happening." Former Vice President Joe Biden is directly blaming President Trump for the mass shootings, saying his rhetoric caused people to die.
Now, Mr. President, it's long past time you stood up to it. Mr. President, it's long past time you addressed it for what it is. This is hatred, pure and simple, and it's being fueled by rhetoric that is so divisive, and it's causing people to die.
Biden also accused the president of being a racist.
And the Justice Department may push for a new federal law specifically making mass shootings a capital crime. U.S. Attorney General William Barr spent the weekend looking at possible legislation with both President Trump and Vice President Pence. One option being considered is making mass shooters eligible for the death penalty. Any changes would have to be approved by Congress. And remembering Saeed, how friends and family are remembering a man who leaves behind a wife and children, hoping for a better life in America.
And later, American Airlines donating tens of thousands of dollars to support Dayton's mass shooting victims. We'll tell you how you can also support the Dayton Foundation and its mission. Today, we're learning one of the shooting victims came to this country and to Dayton to escape violence in his own country.
And Sean Lanier shares more from the Oregon District.
A friend says Saheed Saleh took a step outside to have a cigarette around the same time that the gunman started to shoot. Saleh was killed while his friend was still inside.
It's a tragedy. He came to escape violence and end up, we never expected this will happen in America, but, I guess that's the times we're living in right now.
38-year-old Saheed Saleh was from Eritrea, which is a country in East Africa, and he had only been in the U.S. for 3 years, according to friends. Neb Tesfaye talks about how Saleh was a family man and had a wife and a 5-year-old daughter. He explains that Saleh went out to have drinks with a friend. It was something he rarely did.
He don't really go out that much. Just went out with a friend that day. A friend came from out of town. He went out with him to have a couple of beers.
Tesfaye says in the moment Saleh went outside to smoke a cigarette, the gunman, Connor Betts, began to open fire and killed Saleh and 8 others.
We have no words for it. Like, it's crazy. It's madness, yeah. Never expect this to happen in Dayton. But thank God the police responded so quick and took him out.
Friends say Saleh worked as a forklift operator for DHL. In the Oregon District, Sean Lanier, 2 News, working for you.
A local college community is gathering to mourn. We'll tell you how Wright State is honoring the life of the tragedy in Dayton.
Still warm and humid Tuesday, but an increased chance of rain. That complete Storm Team 2 forecast is just ahead.
We have some breaking news tonight as we give you a live look here at I-75 South in Moraine. It is shut down because of a semi-fire. We're giving you a look here from one of our ODOT cameras near Dryden Road. A little blurry, kind of hard to see here, but there is some traffic in the southbound lanes at a standstill. So you can stick with us here on 2 News and WDTN.com as we'll monitor this situation. But if you can avoid 75 southbound through the Moraine area, specifically near Dryden Road, you might want to do that for now. Well, Megan Betts was a student at Wright State University. She was studying earth and environmental science.
And today, Wright State held a vigil for Megan, whose life was taken at the age of 22. Carly Smith was there and continues our team coverage of the tragedy in Dayton.
Yeah, and the seats were full in the student union, and people are even gathering around the overlook on the floor above. It's friends, colleagues, professors, and even students and faculty who didn't personally know her but were impacted by the shooting.
It's really inspiring, you know, seeing people from all over the campus come out here and just be supportive of one another.
We are here to remember Megan, who was one of our own.
In the aftermath of this senseless violence, we are at a loss.
The faculty at Wright State continues to learn more and more about students impacted by the shooting.
We know that we have had multiple students from Wright State who were in the Oregon District and were actually celebrating the end of internships. A number of them were connected with the Maple Tree Cancer Alliance, which is led by our faculty member, Dr. Karen Wonders.
Nicholas Coomer was not a student at Wright State, but he was a part of the group of interns. 2 interns were also injured in that shooting.
Mental health is definitely something that we want to focus on this year and make sure that our students are aware of all the resources that are available to them. Make sure that, you know, people aren't afraid to ask for help if they need it.
You know, one of the things we like to highlight is, you know, the importance of talking about whatever a person's reactions are, honoring your feelings, you know, seeking the support of friends.
And that was the Director of Counseling and Wellness Services, Robert Rando. He does plan to meet with the student body president this week so they can discuss what to do to improve mental health on campus. Rando says the student health service will be open and ready to help as students arrive on campus. In the newsroom, Carly Smith, 2 News, working for you.
Now, Chief Meteorologist Brian Davis and your Storm Team 2 forecast.
And tonight we're expecting to see mostly clear skies, just a few passing clouds from time to time. Temperatures dropping off through the 70s and eventually into the upper 60s tonight. And then your forecast tomorrow up to 73 at 8 o'clock, mostly sunny, a few scattered clouds, more clouds by noon, 83. Finally into the afternoon, I think we'll see some scattered showers and thunderstorms pop up, and with some of those around at 5 o'clock, cooling off to 80 after getting up to about 86 in the afternoon. Severe weather outlook, just a marginal risk, about a 5% chance we could see a strong wind gust, an isolated wind gust or 2 around the Miami Valley. Kick up there around 55, 60 miles per hour, may produce some damage. You know how that game goes when we get these thunderstorms popping up this time of year. Can kick out that quick wind gust for a few minutes. And low temperatures tonight expected to hit the upper 60s in our area. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll see those numbers warm back into the middle 80s in our area, with upper 80s to near 90 farther to the south. Over the next 10 days, though, we're going to see temperatures running pretty close to normal for those highs. So a lot of 80s over the next 10 days, a little bit of warmth here tomorrow again, but starting to back off a little bit, and humidity levels coming down at the end of the week too. Nice sunset tonight on the Troy Stouter Center camera as the sun continues to move to the left across the screen. You can see the moon's making its way down as well tonight, and live Doppler 2 HD showing the dry weather now over the Dayton area and the Miami Valley. We do have some showers east and southeast of our viewing area, southeast of Clinton County, east of Cincinnati, and then a dying out shower north of I-70, moving toward Henry County and approaching the Wayne County, Indiana area out towards Centerville, Indiana, Hagerstown, but it looks like that rain probably is going to fall apart by the time it gets to those locations. Farther north, though, there is a cold front dropping south and still some stronger thunderstorms up into southern Wisconsin and Iowa. As that front moves into our area, we'll see that increased risk of rain over our region for especially tomorrow afternoon. There's the traffic on I-70 in the background of the Duncan Oil Company camera, where it's dry tonight but a little sticky. 74 degrees, a southwest wind light at 3 with a dew point 66. And the relative humidity 76%. Tonight we're looking at those temperatures mid to upper 70s over western Ohio, and our future track forecast map keeping us mostly clear tonight. We'll see the return of a few clouds tomorrow, back to partly sunny skies, and then finally tomorrow afternoon that increased risk of some rain. Still could see a shower or thunderstorm around the area even at night, Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning, and then more showers and thunderstorms will pop up during the day on Wednesday. Tonight temperatures dropping through the 70s into the upper 60s, but back back to the mid-70s by 9. A mostly clear night, down to 68 degrees. Tomorrow, sun up 640. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, best chance in the afternoon with a high of 86. 83 Wednesday, 85 Thursday, lows in the 60s with that chance of rain. Nice weather Friday and Saturday, a little less humid. Lows upper 50s, lows 60s, and highs reaching the low 80s.
Next here at 10, how the nation is following the lead of American Airlines to financially support mass shooting victims.
Well, again here tonight on 2 News, we're remembering the 9 victims of the Dayton shooting. We now have all of their pictures. Here they are: 25-year-old Nicholas Coomer, 30-year-old Logan Turner, 57-year-old Derek Fudge, 38-year-old Saeed Saleh, 39-year-old Monica Brickhouse, 27-year-old Lois Oglesby, 36-year-old Beatrice Warren Curtis, 25-year-old Thomas McNichols, and 22-year-old Megan Betts, of course, the younger sister of the shooter.
American Airlines has donated $75,000 to the Dayton Foundation to support the victims of the mass shooting. Since then, the foundation says it's received an outpouring of support from across the country.
It just has been amazing, the outpouring locally and all across the country. I mean, we're getting calls from Oregon and California, and I mean, just any place you can imagine. Calls are coming in just asking how they can help, how they can give, what they can do.
If you'd like to donate to that fund and support the victims of this mass shooting, you can go to WDTN.com and click there on the banner at the top of our homepage. We're also looking ahead to the chance to donate blood here in the aftermath of the tragedy in Dayton. The Community Blood Center is holding a Dayton Strong Blood Drive this Friday. It runs from 7 a.m. until 4 p.m. at their South Main Street location. Meyer will provide free breakfast or lunch to those who donate.
And the Community Blood Center saw 169 people donate blood today in the aftermath of mass shootings. Headlining the drive, Senators Rob Portman and Sherrod Brown, as well as Congressman Tim Ryan and Lieutenant Governor John Husted, all today.
All right, Brian, we see live Doppler 2 HD there behind us, and our chances of rain, I understand, coming back tomorrow.
Yeah, coming back tomorrow, minimal tonight. Some showers dying out in eastern Indiana. Not even sure they'll make them to Wayne County, Indiana tonight. But tomorrow, a little better chance later in the day in the afternoon. Starting off in the morning, upper 60s and 70s.
All right, that's it for 2 News at 10. We'll see you next with 2 News at 11 over on WDTN. Thanks for watching. Good night.